Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Adolescence Unfiltered, where we bring to you true talks and unfiltered stories. This podcast is brought to you by the Health and Family Welfare Department, Meghalaya. I am your host, Evangeline.
And I'm Emily. And we're glad to have you viewers and listeners with us here today in this podcast where we will be talking about peer pressure and bullying. And I would like to welcome our guest. Can you please introduce yourselves?
Hello, my name is Abel Carbone.
My name is Milam Walang.
I mean, Milam has already been in this podcast before and he's told us or have you? Haven't you? Have you told us about...
I was here before.
Oh, you were here. Oh, for the first episode. I'm so sorry. It's been so long, I forgot. So yeah, I mean, you could just remind, maybe there are some new viewers out there watching. Yes. Who are these dudes? What do they do? What do they like? What are they into?
I like photography and I'm into acting. That's something new I'm bringing up today. Make it more interesting, right?
And we're going to see some bits and pieces. So
we will.
Okay.
Sure.
Milam.
I'm also into acting. I love to philosophize and write about the deep, dark mysteries of life. But flowers are also nice.
Oh, okay. Well, it's nice to have you both here today and Ivan as well. So let's kick off to the topic. Let's try understanding what peer pressure is all about. So I would like to shoot the first question to Abel.
Okay.
Define a bit what peer pressure is.
For me, peer pressure would be any sort of unwanted, forceful, forceful behavior of people wanting to push you to do something that you don't really want to do. Like they would tell you, oh, just do this, it's fine, we've done it before. Or like, oh yeah, it's fine. People have done it for so many times. It's forceful, and if you know it's harmful, that's peer pressure.
Okay. But that's like, we're talking on a negative side. I feel like positive aspect of peer pressure is that
there are some. And I can relate to one thing, which is the positive peer pressure of my friends making me go to the gym. They're like, hey,
they're like,
you're so fat. I'm like, stop. It's like, bro, stop bullying. It's like, not bullying, bro. Chill, let's go to the gym. Like, what? It's like, he kept on forcing me for like months on end. But at the end of the day, I did go. It's been 6 months now. And well, I feel good. So positive peer pressure does exist.
Why are you laughing? What do you have to say? You have something to say. I could just feel it.
Well, I mean, a lot has been the same for me as well. Peer pressure is this influence that people put on you, right? So it's kind of like, it can be a bad influence. They're like, everybody does it, so why don't you do it with us? And then there's the positive side, which is the funny bit, because my friend, he's this dude that always encourages me to attend seminars and all. And then I'm like, nee, that's boring. But he's like, no, chalo, man. We'll meet some CEOs and whatnot, big people. And then I like sit there and ask them questions. And then these people, they're like, you have good input. Come work for me. Like, oh my God.
You're not seeing any other people dating girls.
Huh?
Because you said you'll go to seminars and to meet CEOs and all these people, right? What about meeting girls?
What? Seminars to meet girls?
Mostly girls in seminars, you might find your soulmate.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who knows? Your life can change in the blink of an eye.
I mean, I feel like throughout my life or throughout my phase transitioning to teenhood, I feel I've understood a lot about peer pressure in a sense that I have been able to differentiate between one is positive and negative peer pressure, right?
Yeah.
So in my earlier teens, I would be associated with people who had negative influence on me. Like, they were like, they had the bad impression, and maybe because of something they did. But I mean, they're teenagers. So my mother would be like, don't hang out with those people. They have bad influence on you. And like, just because I hang out with them doesn't mean I'll also become like them. What if I can be the positive person in this relationship? But it's easier said than done. You tend to pick up on these. I mean, if you hanging out with somebody for too long, you just tend to pick up on, especially on bad habits. They're so easy to pick on.
You know, little things also, you tend to act like them, speak like them.
And once you're being, you're exposed to this environment, which is although negative, but once you're like, you keep exposing yourself in that negative environment, it becomes normal for you. It just like,
Exactly.
it goes around.
That's like really bad, I feel like, you know, when you're
Getting used to something negative. Yeah.
So then you're like, when you see it, you're like, yeah, you know, it's whatever. But then in reality, people, normal people, they'll be like, no, like,
So can you name a few like of negative sides, peer pressure, positive sides that these young teens transitioning to teenhood, they can at least differentiate and know what are the positive sides of peer pressure, the negative sides. Can you name a few? The positive side. Let's start with the negative first.
Negative.
Yes.
I think as if forcing people to ingest something that they know is not healthy. Like for example, say smoking maybe. If they're forcing someone to smoke, like, come on, we're all smoking, smoke with us. And they're forcing that person who hasn't smoked before. And if that person keeps saying no and they keep on forcing, I feel like that's one negative peer pressure, forcing people to to have things without, like, by forcing them to.
What about positive?
you know, encouraging your friend to attend seminars. You could meet people to change your life.
And just assuming.
Perhaps.
Oh,
Perhaps.
well, since we've talked about peer pressure, like there's most of the negative sides, I feel. So, like, let's say a teen who's suffering from peer pressure is being, I'll give you an example, who's being forced to consume alcohol. Then who do you think they should confide to, or why? So that they can share these things. They know it's wrong, but they're willing to try it. So
just to fit in, just to get with the group. I kind of feel like no matter what environment you are in, say, for example, you're in a classroom, people are split up into different groups. They do different things. And so having friends in different groups helps because it can give you proper, like this general perspective on how you do things. So if, for example, you're more closer to people that drink and then they put pressure on you to drink. But if you have a friend who's outside that group, maybe you can confide in them. Or maybe if you don't have a friend like that, if you have a brother or sister, if you're fortunate enough to have family members that you can trust, who won't blow it out of proportion, who'll tell you so simply, this is wrong. Wrong is wrong. You should not do it. But you should approach it, not be judgmental to the people that do it, but kind of approach it softly and say, this is not my kind of thing. And a friend won't force you to do things you won't like.
that's why you have to choose your friends.
Exactly. Very important.
Can you name a few, like, the impacts of peer pressure?
I mean, as teenagers, like, we are hugely influenced by peers, right?
Exactly.
More so than we are by our own family. I mean, teenage phase is like a phase where we have disassociated, I'll say, especially from family members. We want to go seek independence. We want to go try new things,
You
and
want to explore,
and we are hugely influenced by our peers.
Yeah.
That's the main thing. It's like we want their validation. We want affirmation from these people. These people can make or break what I feel or what I think.
We really want to, be a
So
part.
in that process, we tend to just lose ourselves in the process.
Yeah,
Mentioned this before. We tend to lose ourselves in the process in the sense that we tend to change who we are as a person, who we are, deep down, just to please someone. So that's like one biggest impact. A lot of these teenagers, I feel, they've lost themselves.
They've lost
That's
themselves.
trying to please everybody else around them in the process of trying to fit in that group. Like, what if I don't do it? We recently put up a link for submission of anonymous submission, and one person wanted us to talk about the fear of missing out, which is huge in teenagers. We just, if I don't do this, these people will be creating memories without me and I won't be in it, and they might judge me for not being like them or for being, different than they are. So we just sometimes pretend and lose ourselves in the process. I feel that's one of the biggest and the saddest impact of peer pressure.
Yeah, I do agree with that because I feel as if as teenagers, when we're growing up, we do want to have that sense of belonging to a group or especially with friends. We try to make ourselves similar to them. So yes, I do agree that people will lose themselves. These teenagers, we lose ourselves in trying to emulate or trying to copy their behavior, how they think, how they speak, how they act.
Like we've seen in our society, I feel like peer pressure is very prevalent now in our society.
Yeah.
I mean, it's inevitable, right?
Thing in our society. Like I see many of in my locality, I see young boys, at the age of 11, 12, who reaching teenhood, started taking drugs, drinking alcohol, smoking.
Biggest problem.
Yeah.
And I would never expected them to turn out that way because, from what I've seen, how their parents are, how their family are, you would never expect a child to be like that. It's the friends that, they hang out.
Influences, the
Yes.
pressure they have,
Exactly.
it affects them. But I think before, in those days, we were restricted to like what you said in our localities. But now in today's world, we have our phones, we have the internet, social media, everything that, the media feeds us might not always be true. For example, we might see on social media singers, going out, partying, drinking and all of this and showing how cool this might be. But in reality, it's just a recording. They're just doing it to get views and to make whatever they're doing, try to succeed. But if we do follow something without, thinking, blindly following it, it'll affect us.
It'll affect us mentally, emotionally,
Yeah.
psychologically. Like I've seen, many going to rehabs,
Yeah.
who've been drug addicts, and then there was trouble, the stage and all of that. It brings on, it's sad to see that it's ruining their life, especially with drugs being such a prevalent, drug abuse being such a prevalent thing in our society.
Yeah, that's why they say refuse the first time,
Yes.
because drugs are really addictive.
Yes.
And no matter what anyone tells you, pressures you, just say, it's bad.
Yes.
I mean, that's like another topic, a whole vast topic to talk about together. And I'm sure we will in the future have a separate episode just based on addiction. But I feel I have to add that one of the biggest reason why teenagers are very much vulnerable towards peer pressure is because they're still trying to figure themselves out.
Right.
Yeah.
They
It's just
don't have
like
an
they
identity
don't
per
have,
se, yeah.
they are not, fully equipped. Not equipped. I wouldn't say equipped. They're not fully ready. They're not fully understand themselves. So
They haven't realized.
they haven't understand what they want, what they don't want. They're just willing to try anything and everything.
So they're
And sometimes-
exploring,
yeah.
Exploring.
So
Like we've said in the previous episodes, to let teens be teens, but guidance should be. Right?
someone to help you. Or
So it's very important. Again, we're stressing on, parents guiding their kids, guiding us, because we're still growing, we make our mistakes, but we're growing. So guidance is needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've talked much about peer pressure, and this.
I just have to add one more thing to that. I mean, I feel one of the impact, I'll say, of peer pressure is maybe just because, teenagers, you start liking somebody and your friends are dating someone. You're like, I should start dating too.
ask them out.
I should start going out with someone just because my friends are. And, there's that pressure to just, I should start dating.
I should do what my friends are
I'm not
doing.
cool, or I'm not.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it leads to a bigger problem because when you start dating from a very young age, when you haven't fully understand yourself or what you want, you're just,
Doing things blindly.
you do things blindly, and it leads to bigger problems like getting pregnant. Like we keep mentioning this over and over again, but it's true, right? Your friends are not, it's not just dating, also among friends, you boast about, I've been physical with this person.
Yeah.
There's a culture of making
Already
fun.
had first kiss. There's like this competition.
Competition.
With like a lot of girls or boys too, which is like a really unhealthy. Like competition can be healthy, but when you take it into terms of like with other people, like they're people, they're not objects, they have feelings, they have, oh, they're so complex and beautiful. But then when you reduce them down to a competition, like, oh, I've kissed this person, I've, slept with this person or whoever, not only are you like not really appreciating them, but then you're also like really putting yourself at risk because you can get sick that way too. And then what's worse is what we've talked about, you can get pregnant. And that's not something that's something that will really derail your life.
I mean, one of the one of the factor of teenage pregnancy is one, because yes, peer pressure, but also there's like, I feel there's a lack of education when it comes to sex.
Yeah. And you live in the dark.
Yeah, you just live in the dark and you're like willing to try whatever and whatever and
It's like entering a dark room and then hitting all the corners of the table.
I don't see many schools introducing sex education.
It's important.
It's important, and I feel like as society,
It's a taboo on it. They don't want to talk about it,
yes,
they're young. They should not talk about such things. And they shouldn't know all of these.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Eventually they'll know.
it's human body. It's like you have urges, like especially getting into teenhood, your hormones change. You
suddenly have the urge to be with someone.
It's not
hold the
this.
hands.
But how do you navigate that? It's important for elders who have gone through that stage to be able to guide you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Because the worst the kids will feel like, oh no one understands me. And then they'll end up doing the wrong thing.
oh yes.
But then the elders who've already gone through this phase, they can help us. They can be like, okay, man, I've been through this. And we're like, really? And then they can tell us what happens, what we can expect. So we don't do things blindly.
Yeah.
yes, it's like it leads back to peer pressure, because if the parents don't talk about this, they'll eventually go to their friends because
Exactly. Yeah.
they'll feel relatable. Then peer pressure will.
I mean, it's not always bad to go to your friends. I'm saying they're always, I'm not saying everyone is bad and everything, but sometimes like, I wouldn't go ask for a tutor from a person who's just my same class. Even they don't know what. But
Exactly. We're learning the same
so
subject.
it's like you're learning the same subject. You both don't understand. Like your friends might have a better understanding of it, might understand it better. They
But
might
they
be
don't seem
smart.
to know it.
But I mean, they haven't fully done like a degree on life. Like this is just a metaphor I'm saying. So I feel it's always wise to seek advice from people who have passed through that stage of life.
They can, they can give you advice, this works, this doesn't work, this is probably a bad idea, stuff like that. I kind of feel like that's what I went through as a kid too, because no one really talked about it. And then, you see, the thing is, right, if you leave things in the dark, right, you'll eventually learn it from somewhere. So if you're going to eventually learn it from somewhere, why not learn it from
A reliable
source instead of whether it's the internet or some random groups that you find here and there, which might not have your best interest, So that's what happened with me. I just didn't know what was going on and all of that. But then, fortunately, I did have like kind of strict parents. And when I told them, eventually they were like, okay, it's
time for you.
It's time to know. It's time to talk about this. And that, I'm very grateful for that. They talked and helped me prevent doing things which I would regret, obviously.
For the viewers and listeners out there, like Milal said, his parents are strict, but he came, we went up to them, right?
Yeah.
Talked about it.
Yeah, obviously they didn't like it at first, but it took time.
Yeah, your parents are totally understanding. They wouldn't want you to go astray, right?
Yeah.
Eventually talk to you about it, explain to you about, how your body changes, the hormonal changes, your mood swings, whatever you're going through as a teen, please just, don't just go to Google and just Google whatever you want. Because
Google is not your friend.
Google's not a doctor. It's a counselor.
one of the wisest to, go to your parents or someone who's reliable, experience, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, we can, from peer pressure as well, like, people mistake peer pressure and bullying. Some people think that peer pressure and bullying are the same. But I feel like it's not. Peer pressure is different. Bullying is different.
I mean, there's a thin line. It depends.
Yeah,
It's a thin line.
there's a fine line between peer pressure and bullying. Can you just give me like the difference between bullying and peer pressure?
Well, there's always the old school bullying of people like physically hitting you, punching you. Maybe they don't like something about you or whatever their reasons are. But then in today's age, you have technology. And then now you have social bullying, like not inviting someone and then spreading rumors, like not inviting them in the sense of, even though you're in the same group, you're getting passive aggressive treatments. You're always put off on the side without being included. Then there's the social media aspects and all of that. So verbal bullying, social bullying, it follows you home in these days. As like someone told me once, that before in the old days, they were just like getting smackdowns. But then now that everyone has social media and all, you can still see the comments online and all of that. So it affects people.
Yes. Have you ever been bullied or going a bully?
Old school.
Yes.
Yes, I'm bullied.
No, but
But I mean,
yeah,
please.
I have been bullied before, mostly regarding my weight and how I looked. But that led to me also bullying other people for their appearances. So it was like a cycle of that trauma.
Yes.
I still regret my decision to this day. But it was like me being bullied caused my self-confidence to be lower to such a low point that I had to drag other people down to that point for myself to feel better. And I never did feel better.
I feel like that's maybe those people who bully others, they could feel the same.
Yeah, they probably feel the same way.
But at the same time, you should never let out your insecurities on other people. Because at that point, you're also causing trauma for them. Just because you've gone through trauma yourself, you shouldn't feel as if you should inflict it upon other people, which is something that teenagers have to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're growing up, you're having, let's just say, a roller coaster of emotions. But you shouldn't try to inflict pain and suffering on others just because of what you're going through. Talk to people you trust. Reach out to people that you know you can trust. Communicate with your parents, especially, because they only want the best for you. Or anyone else who you trust, who you feel as if they could listen to you and help you through that situation.
You found them to be trustworthy in the past. They've genuinely helped you. So you can confide.
If you've been bullied, if you're a bully, please do talk about your problems to someone at least. Because if you let them fester, it'll just eat you up from the inside.
You won't feel good if you bully people.
Yeah.
You've been bullied by a person who did feel like you, they had their own insecurities. They would bully me. It was the hardest part for me was, I care so much about, the things that my father gave, like even this watch. I had it since, but when I was young, and then I got my first fountain pen. The bully took it. She saw it. It was my first fountain pen that my dad gave me. She took it and threw it in the toilet. And I cried. I did not dare tell my dad, that I lost the fountain pen. It broke my heart. But, as life goes on, I realized that my bully suffered a lot as well. Her dad was not there for her. So, she saw that I had, but she didn't. And, she wanted to cause that same pain that she had on me. And now I understand, we cannot judge people, right?
Yeah.
You can never judge a book by its cover. So that's how I've dealt. So can you give some advice on how do you deal with the bully? How do you deal with bullies?
This is a tough one, I feel.
Very tough one.
But
I feel as if
you should stand up for yourself.
Yeah, stand up for yourself. And if they keep on antagonizing you, I think ignoring it, and if it goes any further, talk to an adult.
Yes.
Because even though you might feel as if, because as students, when I was a student, when we tried to reach out, they would say, oh, don't say it because you'll be a rat. Because you're a snitch.
Yeah.
Out of saying. But at the end of the day, you have to go talk to an adult because they have the authority.
Yes. Because I've seen cases, have you seen the Korean series Glory? It's based on a true story about teen bullied to the extent where her hand was burned. She suffered a lot, and it's because she did not dare speak up. And it's like, her parents were not there for her, even though she tried communicating. Her parents never listened. And I feel like some of us who are being bullied, can't go to our parents or someone who we thought we can trust, but we really can't. They don't care. So what do they do in that situation if they can't go to any of these people? Do you have any advice on that?
It's a very difficult situation.
That's I would think of the worst case situation where you feel like you can't turn to anyone and all you have is yourself. And perhaps in those situations, being patient with time and knowing that it's not going to last forever can be something that really helps you. Knowing that whatever you're going through is not forever. And even though I personally understand that whenever you're going through something like that, any advice that you get doesn't feel genuine. It always feels like it's going to go on forever, but it does end. And there will come a point where you do understand things and you can look back and go, oh, it's over. So unfortunately, to people who are in those situations, my heart is out to you. And you can always, as we've talked in previous episodes, you have professionals from health and welfare departments that you can talk to and approach if you feel as though you don't have anyone in your life. Another thing that you can also understand, right, in those situations is like the people that are bullying you do have something wrong in them. And then, as Abiel said, they're just pouring out what's wrong with them onto you, And I remember back when I was in my school days, that was the case with us too. We were bullied, and then some of us became bullies as well. And it's this vicious cycle that continues on and on. So no matter in those cases, you do need capacity to forgive as well and to ask for apology if you have been someone who's hurt others, because holding on to hatred and all of that, it will eventually destroy you.
Yes, that's, it's a really sensitive topic, right? To talk about bullying. It's something that's very hard to, really give advice on, and
because every case is very personal to every case. It's very unique and individual to every. But I feel like it might have like a little impact on you, but it might have more than impact on me because of what I've been through, or even I've been a victim of bullying in my high school years. But it has really taught me that it has made me to become very appreciative of the friends I have now.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, this is what the real. If you're in that circle where people are always bullying you or pulling you down, I mean, cut them off.
Sometimes you have
find new friends.
that, it's not wrong to walk away whenever you're pressured constantly. Provided, of course, you talk to them. I don't like this. Stop doing it.
Yeah, confront them.
Yeah, confront them.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I said, it has really taught me to appreciate the friends I have now. Yes, at that moment, it feels like it's never going to end. Like you said, it's never going to end. And it feels like it's the worst possible thing for you to go through. And it is. It's understandably so. But stand up for yourself. That's what I regretted most, that I didn't stand up for myself and how I felt, because I feel like I was too weak or something. But,
being scared.
It's scary being put in that situation where you feel so vulnerable and you feel like you feel helpless, right?
Yes.
But nobody is ever helpless. You'll always have somebody with you. I know, if not your parents or your family members, there's always professionals who can help guide you through this process. But keeping that also in mind, we should also learn how to be good friends ourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
What can we do for them to just make them see, like, try to prove them that I'm a good person. There's this saying that I've always kept so close to my heart, which goes like, it is nice to be important, but it's also important to be nice to people.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
So I've always held that very closely to my heart, and whatever I do, I just try to give off that vibe. Like, just be nice to people. You never know what they're going through. I mean, if your bully is like, I mean, just sitting there like, what was wrong with you? What happened to you? Why are you like?
It just feels like
Make them feel insecure. It's like, why are you like this? Why are you? Where does that
one
anger, where does that rage come?
you just question them like,
Would reverse,
Yeah, it's like a reverse.
reverse psychology, but with
It's true, you know. Hurt people hurt other people. People that are hurt themselves,
Yeah.
they hurt other people.
Yes.
And that's unfortunate, you know, that we have these tendencies, but we have to understand and be patient with one another.
so how do we break the cycle? Like you said, it's an unending cycle. How do we break the cycle of, people being bullied and then they bully others? It's like an unending cycle.
You stop yourself.
Yes.
You recognize you were wrong. And
I mean, you can't change people. You can't change people. What you can change is yourself.
yourself. Yeah. Yourself.
I mean, what people are doing is, it's like not even within your capacity to change or to do anything. What you can do is work on yourself. Work on yourself and maybe move on. Cut off those people who feel like they're bringing you down. And even,
hurting you.
I mean, bullying can also lead, we never mentioned, but I mean, one of the biggest impact is it takes a toll on mental health.
Yes.
Yeah. It can affect you.
Oh my
years and
goodness,
years.
yeah.
Sure.
Of course, it takes a toll on your mental health. You get really depressed and you shut up from everyone.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't want to tell your parents, because what if?
They don't understand.
No, it's not even that. It's just like, I don't want them to see me like this.
Yeah.
I want them to know what it is.
And a bit of shame to
Yeah.
being embarrassed.
Ashamed or embarrassed that this is happening to you, and it's nothing to be ashamed of.
Yeah. Everyone goes through problems in their lives, you know. Problems are not unique to one person. We all face them. And rather than hiding within ourselves and feeling like, you're Superman, you can deal with everything on your own, it's far better to help one another and to open up. Because what if you opening up can inspire someone else to open up? And then that starts a positive cycle of healing.
And so, how do we cope with peer pressure and bullying? How do we cope? I mean, one thing is awareness programs. You need to talk about peer pressure, like how we're doing right now. We have to let our viewers and listeners know about peer pressure and bullying, that it's a real thing. It affects, our life, So what other coping methods are there for teens to combat peer pressure and bullying?
Stand by your morals. That's one thing. And communicate with trusted individuals. Communicate with the people you trust about these issues you're going through.
How about regarding parents, family, teachers, friends? What role do they have to help us cope with this?
I mean, we don't have to wait for people to say like, oh, yeah, I'm going to. I mean, teachers, they see.
Yeah,
They say.
You can always reach out to them and be like, hey, are you all right? Or if you see a friend suffering or maybe being going through that, just check up on them. Check up on them.
One small sentence can mean so much.
So much.
That's why, we have to always be kind to everyone. We don't
know what they're going through.
What they're going through. Yes. So we've learned so much, right, in this episode about peer pressure and bullying. Now, the last question I want to ask you guys is, what advice would you give to someone watching and listening to this podcast right now who's actually going through peer pressure, bullying? What advice, what help would you give them?
I mean,
Bottle it up.
Don't bottle it up. Yeah, that's one thing. And also, we're here, and we will, in our description, we'll put a helpline number just in case you really need the help and you really feel the need to talk to someone. We will be providing a link down below for you to reach out anytime you feel like you can't take it anymore. And I mean, yeah. So I feel if there's anything you want to share, if there's something that's been bothering you or something that you've gone through relating to this topic that we've discussed today, please feel free to share your experience. I mean, your experience could help others who are out there listening or watching.
Inspire one another.
Help inspire one another.
Yeah.
And I hope through this podcast, through this episode here today, we've understood and we learned something.
And, like I've always said, like we've always said, this is a safe space for you all to share thoughts, your stories, it will help someone out there who might relate to your story. You know,
We're not
let's
here.
help one another.
Yeah, we're not here to judge. We're here to help each other.
We'll talk about it, right? So it was, a sensitive topic, like, we haven't been laughing much. So let's have a bit of fun.
Oh, let's have a bit of fun. I know what's happening next. And
Since we have an actor here,
Actors, bitch.
and I heard that you can do the impression of Petco.
Yes. I am Petkov.
Let's see our friends.
just conclude this episode with
Yes, conclude this episode with
Well, my good sir, I hope I've been of service to you today, as I've always been every day.
Of course, Nicola. I can only expect the best from you.
Thank you.
And to all our viewers and listeners out there, be kind, be considerate, and remember, you're worth more than you think.
My master is right. Love one another as we love you.
Exactly.
that was so good.
yes.
What a light-hearted way to end this conversation.
I hope you all enjoyed the podcast today, and I hope you've all learned, taken something from this podcast. Please share, share, and subscribe our channel.
We are available on
YouTube, Spotify, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, all social media platforms. And do follow us on Instagram at Adolescents Unfiltered for more updates. And yes, they've been pointing down below. Please share your comments down below. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, all viewers and listeners, for being with us here today. Signing off. This is Emily.
Evangeline.
Abiel.
Milam, signing off today. Bye.
Adios.